Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fourth episode of 360TF Business Unplugged series. This initiative aims to unite industry leaders from various geographies and sectors to discuss significant topics of concern and importance. Welcome to our exploration of the transformative effects of digitization on trade finance. We are honored to present a fireside chat featuring two distinguished leaders, Sehgal, CEO of Traydstream, and Vikram Lodha, co-founder and CEO of 360TF. Join us as we uncover insights into this evolving landscape.
Samir, once again, welcome to the fourth episode of Business Unplugged. And along with you, I will like to welcome all our participants on the call. I know there are, a lot of well-wishers out there, and our corporates, our banking friends, who know you well, who know us well, and they all are watching us.
To your question about Vikram, about the current landscape. I mean, there's just so much that's happening that's overwhelming, right? That's the word that you use. Tech is pretty much redefining our world, whether it be on the personal side or the professional side. When we started our career, and my career started in the last millennium, internet was not there. It was not as ubiquitous as it is today. Smartphones and devices were not there. In fact, they didn't exist. Data was not as ubiquitous again as it is today. I mean, you can access pretty much anything, anytime, in the matter of seconds. That was not the world that we were living in when we started our trade careers. And knowledge is so much easier to get to. Earlier we had these repositories of knowledge that you had to go to with folded hands. Now it's everywhere. Everybody's got that knowledge, and technology in some form has democratized that knowledge. And therefore, it's also leading to what's happened in various other industries of convergence. So, it's not that the trade industry or the processing industry or the confirmation industry sits in isolation. With technology, you're bringing logistics together, you're bringing payments together, you're bringing FX together, you're bringing insurance together. These are all utilities which existed in silos. Now, with technology, you can actually start linking them, and you can actually close your eyes and see the entire ecosystem coming together to the extent that if they are all connected, you can actually start using these utilities with the click of a finger. It's amazing. It's almost like a 100-year moment, if you will, that's happening in the trade industry, which has not been digitized, and it's happening right in front of our eyes as we speak every single day. We are stunned with some of the technologies. I mean, what we are seeing with AI ML, what we are seeing with Gen AI, what we are seeing with simple tools like voice technology, with the efficiencies that it's achieved. Today, we on the operating floor in trade, you do everything by typing in. We've seen so much of improvement by just using voice in the downstream processes. It's not funny. So you talk with your systems and you work on your systems, and both of them interplay to give you a profound difference to what you're doing. So yes, I mean, there's just so much that's happening in the landscape. I mean, I can go on talking for hours and hours, excited by what we're seeing. I think even behaviorally, I mean, Vikram, till a few years back, you would go to the banking customers and corporate customers and say, this is possibly what can happen in trade. Today, they come to us. Literally, we're inundated with questions. I mean, just since the morning today, there have been two different use cases that have come to us of what can happen, which will dramatically change two different corollaries of trade. And that's happening every single day. So this realization that technology can be a game changer, can be an accelerator, can be a inducer of change, is not just between you, I, a few people in the industry. It's widespread. And I think that change, it's not evolutionary, it's revolutionary. And that's what's happening in the trade industry. So, I mean, we can talk for hours, but you can see I'm like completely charged up with what's happening in the industry. And there couldn't be a better time for a trade professional than now in the trade industry. Look, to be honest, for those of us who love this subject, we're really passionate about trade. We've grown up in the trade world. There's a saying, you can take the boy out of the village, but you can't take the village out of the boy. So we all come from the trade world, and It's something that just gets us excited. And I think that's common that you find among all trade professionals. You say the word trade and suddenly you see the eyes lighting up and, the excitement sort of shared from one person to the other. The same excitement that we have for the trade industry also takes us to the realization that trade was living in a time warp of its own. It was anachronistic because the world had moved over. If you look at the retail industry, when we were kids, we used to go into a branch and ask for money, and then you had credit cards coming out and you had ATMs coming out. The retail industry got digitized. For those of us who grew up in India and in other parts of the world, shares used to be held as physical shares. And they basically got dematerialized to the extent that they are in some demat account somewhere and nobody holds shares anymore. Loans and securities industry the securitization industry went through that. Payments used to make payments through checks and wait for days. Now it's instantaneous, within seconds, and now they're beating each other to get to nanoseconds of the money received on the other side. So, that's how the payments industry has gone. When all of these, the aviation sector, when I started my business travel, there used to be a folder of flight tickets. You used to get 3 tickets in a folder and you had to give one to the counter, one to the whatever, and then you got onto the plane. Today you go with your smartphone, swipe, and you're in, right? So that dematerialization or paper being sucked out or automation, whatever you might call it, has happened in those industries which are as profound as trade in itself. So trade was possibly the last remaining bastion, if you will, in the banking sector, which had been left in the boondocks. These guys are very complex, it's very different, leave them to be what they are doing and, it will manage on its own. But that was wrong because it had to catch up at some stage. You can't have two parts of your life wherein individually you're dealing with smartphones, but then you go and start stamping documents and physical documents being couriered, etc., which is where the trade world is. So for those of us who are passionate, we felt that, look, for years you heard in banking, Silicon Valley is coming. We felt like, we were just like sitting ducks and Silicon Valley will come and change our lives and then we don't know what's going to happen on the other side. And the realization was that trade is a specialist field. There is a lot of knowledge, acumen that one develops over years. And if that's going to happen, somebody has to take the leap onto the other side. If you don't understand technology, you bring the trade acumen. If you have the technology acumen, you understand trade. So somebody has to take the leap. So the belief was that we could fundamentally start reimagining trade as an industry, as a checking process which had not existed in the past. Believe me, it was just a pure hypothesis. But to the stage that we've got to now, about 7 or 8 years, by dint of effort, by hard work, by not taking no for an answer, not taking defeat as an answer. And you know how things can go wrong. There are 100 million ways and things don't go right to your script. I think it's got to us to the stage wherein things don't only work, but they work much, much better than we had envisaged. So that was the genesis to making a difference to the trade industry, to elevating the role of trade in the banking and the world industry. And I think in some form, we feel very gratified and humbled by the fact that it's starting to bear fruits. So, Vikram, this is a question that comes up almost every single day from the people we are talking to. And again, AI is a catch-all phrase for a very, very, very large subject. AI, ML, it just gets thrown in and it's like a catch-all phrase. But if you were to peel the onion and start looking at the devil in the detail, AI goes into various elements, right? You've got machine learning, you've got supervised learning, you've got unsupervised learning, you've got contextual learning, you've got cognitive learning, and then there are tools below in the form of Markov chains and graphing, and there's just so much. All of it gets put together into one catch-all thing, AI ML. If you were to ask me how indelible is AI and ML? Enormously. But it is almost like asking how important is multiplication in maths. It's a tool. It allows you to achieve some things, but will it allow you to apply everything? No, because you've got subtraction and division and addition as well. So you have to use the tool for what it is worth and what it can get you depending upon the underlying use case. In the trade process, right from digitization and awareness of the document, because we know one of the fundamental problems in trade is that it is non-standardized, it's unstructured, and that's where the human brain plays a part, right? Through learning over the years, you know where to look in what document, what data, etc. So to be able to get the system to do it, there's a huge element of AI, ML that comes in just in that space itself. Then you got the more fundamental and more challenging and more exciting part about the text itself. Reading a text and understanding what that text means. 3x3 bill of lading going from port A to port B can be written in 50 different ways. The way you act on it, the human brain has been trained as to how to do it. The system is not. So to be able to use AI, machine learning, and even Gen AI, who instead of filling the blanks, actually predict and say this is what it is, and if it meets and it is what it is, then bang, we know what needs to be done. So the amount of experimentation that goes on the shop floor every single day, and I would love to tell you that we succeed 9 out of 10 times. In fact, we fail 9 out of 10 times. Because when you are in that mode of experimentation on a daily basis, you put in a hypothesis, it doesn't work, then you need to go back, recheck your hypothesis or the tools that you used, and all these tools across AI, ML, LLM are nothing but tools, and they don't all work for all use cases. But from a trade perspective, between AI, ML, and all these sort of experimentations that are going on in the industry at the moment, I am super excited. I mean, there's this saying that the future is faster than you know, and that's absolutely true for trade. The future is faster than we know. The dream about frictionless trade, to a large extent, AI, ML, and these tools are helping us achieve. So the next few years are going to be super, super exciting. That's one place, to be candid, that we've seen slower traction, I guess, because a lot of these technologies, and I think it's unfair to the technology person to expect too much of the technology on day one. So blockchain was probably, in my humble opinion, my personal opinion, too much was pinned on blockchain to solve the problems of trade too soon. You need to give time. Any technology needs time to be able to go develop, evolve over time before it starts solving the problem. So in some form, people got excited and then diffused about blockchain. I think there will be problem cases in trade that are being solved or looking to be solved. If you ask me, just tomorrow morning, will smart contracts take over? No. Between AI, ML, and LLM, what are we more focused on? AI, ML, and LLM as opposed to blockchain, because I think it's further apart at the moment from a future point of view that these would start contributing, in my humble opinion. It's a technology which is probably slightly slower in adoption and solving for the problems than the others.
Thank you, Sameer, for answering these questions. Thank you, everyone who joined us for this fireside chat. We appreciate your time and thoughtful contributions.
Thank you so much, Akshita. Thank you so much for inviting me, and wish you at 360 TF all the very best. You guys are doing an amazing stuff.
I mean, thanks for joining us, and we look forward for our engagement that's between Traydstream and 360 TF, going live and hitting the market jointly on some of the exciting areas, be it on the banking side or the corporate side. And it was wonderful having you on this call, and being with you is always a pleasure. Talking to you is always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Same here. Thank you so much.